I knew where to put my coat the moment I walked in. Not because I was welcome, but because there was only one hook left, the one closest to the door, the one you grab when you don't plan on staying long. My son stood beside me, boots still on, eyes scanning the living room the way kids do when they're measuring safety. He didn't ask where to sit. He waited for me to decide. That was the first thing that hurt, quietly. He was 8, but he already knew how to read rooms. Christmas dinner was already half arranged, plates stacked, candles lit. My sister was laughing too loudly at something on her phone. My mother was correcting the angle of the napkins. My dad didn't look up at all. It felt less like arriving and more like interrupting. I told myself it was fine, that I was being sensitive, that families have rhythms and I'd just stepped in off beat. I'd told myself that for years. We sat. We passed dishes. My son said thank you too carefully. No one commented on his new haircut. No one asked how school was going. The silence around him was loud in a way adults pretend not to hear. It started over something small. It always does. A comment about how late I was. A joke about how I always complicate things. I didn't respond. I focused on cutting my son's food the way he likes it, edges trimmed, pieces even. Then my dad spoke. Not raised, not shouting. Just firm like a decision already made. If you're gonna sit there with that attitude, he said, finally looking at me, you should just leave. I felt my chest tighten, not because it was unexpected, but because he'd chosen to say it in front of my child. I waited. Sometimes if you wait, someone softens it. Rephrases. Pretends it wasn't meant the way it sounded. My sister didn't wait. You should leave and never return, she said, still smiling, like she'd added a punchline. My mother looked at my son then, finally, and sighed. Not at me, at him. Christmas is better without you, she said, meaning both of us, but not bothering to separate us in her mind. There was a moment where everything inside me went very quiet. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't ask what I'd done wrong. I stood, took my son's coat, helped him into it slowly. He looked up at me, confused but calm because I was calm. At the doorway, my dad said something about respect. I don't remember the words. I remember the tone, final, satisfied. The tone of someone who believes the door closes only one way. I turned back then. Just enough. Okay, I said. Then you won't mind me doing this? No emphasis? No pause for effect, just a statement. They didn't ask what I meant. That's important. They didn't care enough to clarify. Outside, the cold hit my face like relief. My son asked if we were in trouble. No, I said. We're just leaving. I buckled him into the car. He watched the house while I did it, the lights glowing warm inside. He didn't cry. That made it worse. I took out my phone. 5 minutes isn't long, but it's enough time to make a choice you've postponed for years. The action itself was simple, administrative. Something I was legally allowed to do, something I'd been advised to do months earlier and hadn't, because I thought keeping the peace mattered more than keeping records straight. I filed the report. I sent the documentation. I confirmed the request. Then I waited. Inside that house, they were probably clearing plates, pouring drinks, talking about how dramatic I'd always been, rewriting the scene into something easier to live with. Until the knock came. Not loud, not aggressive, official. I didn't see it, but I can imagine it clearly. The way authority sounds when it doesn't care about family dynamics, when it speaks in procedures and obligations. My phone rang. My sister's name lit up the screen. I didn't answer. It rang again. Then my mother. Then my father. I answered on the 4th call. What did you do? My dad asked, his voice already different, not angry, alarmed. I told you, I said. Something you wouldn't mind. There was movement behind his voice. Someone else speaking, papers rustling, the sound of control slipping, not dramatically but unmistakably. Undo it. My mother said, cutting in. Please, we didn't mean it like that. I looked at my son in the rearview mirror. He was watching me now. I can't, I said. It's done. We'll talk. My sister said quickly. You can come back inside. Let's just talk. That was the first invitation of the night. No, I said. We're not coming back. There was silence on the line. Not the comfortable kind, the kind where everyone is recalculating. You're overreacting, my dad said weakly as if habit might still work. No, I said again. I'm responding. I hung up. We drove home. The roads were empty. Christmas lights blurred past the windows, cheerful and distant. At home, I made my son hot chocolate. Too much marshmallow. He smiled at that. Are we still a family? He asked, staring into his mug. Yes, I said. Just not in that house. He nodded, accepting it the way children accept truths when they're told plainly. In the days that followed, messages came in waves. Apologies that focused on consequences, not behavior. Explanations that rearranged intent without touching impact. Requests framed as forgiveness but really meant access. I responded once, briefly, clearly. I'm taking space. Please don't contact me unless it's necessary. Some boundaries make noise when you set them. This one didn't. It just changed the shape of things. There was no celebration, no feeling of winning, just a steady sense that something misaligned had finally been corrected. Sometimes, late at night, I still feel the ache of it, the version of family I kept hoping would show up if I tried hard enough. That ache hasn't gone away, but neither has the calm. And that feels like something I can build on.